Hello, this is Sherry Klima. I'm your Deputy City Manager, and this presentation is regarding the appropriation of bond proceeds. In 2006, the former Oxnard Community Development Commission issued separate tax allocation bonds for Hero, Ormond Beach, and South Winds areas. In 2014, the successor agency then transferred those bond proceeds to the city. And then in 2019 and again in 2021, staff requested that council approve a proposed list of projects for the bond proceeds and appropriate funding to these projects. So this report is really a status update of those projects that have already been in each of those bond proceeds. So with respect to Ormond Beach, the Perkins Road bike lanes project was budgeted for $500,000 and will be completed this spring. This is to install bicycle lanes, bike detention, and pedestrian improvements along Perkins Road. The Ormond Beach neighborhood street resurfacing was a resurfacing of several streets within that neighborhood, as well as median rehabilitation and gateway upgrades along Hueneme Road. This was appropriated $2 million, and we did expend almost all of that amount to resurface Cypress Road, Arcturus Avenue, Edison Drive, Magellan Avenue, and McWayne Boulevard, which were done in September of this year. However, the Hueneme Road work has not been completed. First of all, we needed to replace the storm drains and cast iron before we do the resurfacing. And then secondly, there was not enough funding. As you know, street work has gone up tremendously in cost in the past year. So there was not enough funding to complete all that work with the remaining HERO funds. So we're going to complete. We will put in a recommendation you will see later in this presentation to put the remaining Ormond Beach bond proceeds into this project, and whatever cannot be completed with that funding will utilize Measure E funds that have already been appropriated for this purpose. The Perkins Road parking lot improvements at the terminus of Perkins Road. The parking lot was resurfaced. However, the county will not allow some of the improvements because the property is on a landfill. So this was appropriated $600,000 and completed in September. And unfortunately, we cannot put up the fencing and the gates and so forth, and the electric vehicle charging stations. The Ormond Beach commercial area fiber expansion was intended to extend fiber to the Ormond manufacturing zoned area. We did install, or we were supposed to install, around 7,000 feet of 144 strand fiber optic cable across that area. We did expend just under $50,000 for the design of the fiber lines, but we had to close out the project because for various reasons it does not make sense to install such fiber at this time. We will save these plans to be used in the future. The Perkins Road fiber expansion project was appropriated $153,450. We have designed this project, which is to extend the fiber and connect it to the stormwater pump station at the southern end of Perkins Road. This is both for to deploy the SCADA infrastructure and for safety and security of the pump station. And those fiber lines will be installed in the spring of this coming year. Onto the HERO bond proceeds. That one had quite a few projects in the queue. The Civic Center ADA improvements, the maintenance overlay was intended to reconstruct sidewalks and parking lot surfaces. adjacent to 305 West 3rd Street building. The project was budgeted for $100,000, and we expended that funding and completed the project in December of 2020. The South Oxnard Center mechanical, plumbing, electrical upgrade, including the fire system, was intended to upgrade the fire system, upgrade the MPE, repair the sidewalk, replace landscaping, and make interior improvements as well. The project was budgeted at $250,000, and we completed it in August of this year for just under $142,000. The Garden City Acres Park improvements in Cypress were intended to install new smart irrigation and controller, repair and resod the damaged turf, and install additional basketball court with lights. The project was budgeted for $350,000 in HERO funds and just under $343,000 in Quimby funds. And it was completed in July of this year, far below budget. Of the HERO funds, $310,964 were spent. The Saviors Road street resurfacing between Woolley and Wainimi Road, the project was budgeted at $1.1 million and was completed in May of 2021 for $896,977. And the Beck Park basketball court upgrades, which was the resurfacing of 2 basketball courts. The project was budgeted just under $100,000 and was completed in May of this year for $71,730. The council chambers remodel. This was initially a much more robust project when it was created a couple of years ago. And this project, this portion of the project just focused on abating asbestos, the ceiling replacement, and then the audio visual upgrades. It didn't focus on all the aesthetic improvements to the council chambers. The project was budgeted for $300,000 from HERO, as well as $1.3 million in PEG funding, and it will be completed this month. We're just waiting on a couple of final pieces of equipment. And we spent $128,500 out of the HERO funds. The alleyways in the HERO boundary was a listing of 12 alleyways with some of the lowest PCI ratings within the HERO geographic boundaries. We listed those in the staff report on March 2021. And the goal was to pave all of these alleyways, but what we really said was we would take the remaining HERO funds, the $2.5 million, and stretch it to as much of this list as possible. Since that time, the cost of paving has gone up very, very significantly. So we have used that allocation to pave the following alleys. We've paved the alley east of Saviors Road, between Dolly Street and Pleasant Valley Road, the alley east of A Street between 1st and 2nd Streets, the alley north of Lark Street between Samuel Drive and Circle Drive. Samuel Avenue and Circle Drive, the alley north of Glenwood Drive, the alley east of C Street, and the alley south of Gonzales Road between Oxnard Service Boulevard, and the alley north of 1st Street between A Street and Oxnard Boulevard. So those were completed for around $1 million in September of this year. Due to contractor delays, the following alleys are scheduled to be completed this winter, 2023. So the Pleasant Valley Road alley between C Street and Saviors Road, the alley east of J Street and north of Linden Drive, the alley east of D Street between 5th and 7th Streets, the alley east of Fournier Street between Channel Islands Boulevard and Tamarack Street, the alley east of Paula Street between Clinton and Tamarack Streets, the alley north of Maple Street between Saviors Road and San Marino Street, and the alley south of Ontario Street between 9th Street and Woolley Road. The estimated cost to complete these is $1.76 million. And so we are asking for an additional appropriation over the original amount to complete this project. Regarding Thompson Park, Community Center Park, and Johnson Park upgrades, which was the replacement of aging and damaging playground equipment at those parks, the contract was awarded this past July. Work began in November, and staff anticipates the work will be completed in January of this year. The project was budgeted just under $400,000, and we've expended just a small portion of that so far for design. The roof replacement at the PAC was intended to focus on the Ventura and Oxnard rental spaces at the PAC. The project was budgeted for $250,000 from HERO funds, as well as additional funding from ARPA and Measure O. Staff bid this project out, and the lowest bid came in at approximately $1.4 million. This bid is unresponsive, so we need to rebid this project. But we are expecting that this project will go up very significantly in cost from what was originally anticipated. And we will request an additional appropriation for this project when the contract is presented to council for award. The roof replacement at the South Oxnard Center was budgeted for $475,000. Again, we have completed the design. And we've bid this project out twice. The first time there were no bidders. The second time the lowest bid came in just under $650,000. So, and we also need an additional 10% over the bid amount for contingency and another 10% for engineering and project management. So we will be requesting an appropriation of just under $350,000 over the original $475,000 to complete this project. And again, this is because roofing has become significantly more expensive. The cost of roofing has gone up through the roof. The balance of the HERO bond proceeds currently available for relocation is around $570,000. However, as you heard, there are open HERO projects currently, and as those projects close out, they may come in below cost, and we may have additional HERO funds. So staff is proposing using the current balance of the HERO bond proceeds, as well as any additional unspent bond proceeds from the HERO funds, to complete the roof replacement at the South Oxnard Center, and also to pave more alleyways. The next few alleyways that we have listed are the alleys east and north of Sycamore Street, between Channel Islands Boulevard and La Cañada Avenue, and Clinton Circle and Sycamore Street. The alley north of La Cañada Avenue between Fournier Street and Sycamore Drive. The alley north of Clinton Circle between Clinton Street, Paula Street, and Sycamore Street, and the alley north of Paula Circle between Paula Street and Sycamore Alley. We intend to spend down the balance of the HERO funds to complete the roof replacement at the South Oxnard Center and to pave as many of these as possible. However, I will say this list is very ambitious, and we likely don't have the HERO funds for this. There likely aren't that many HERO funds left over, but we are intentionally inserting more rather than less work on this list to spend down the full balance of the HERO bond proceeds. And then with respect to the Southwinds Park bond proceeds, the only prior project that was outstanding was the Southwinds Park basketball court resurfacing, which entailed the resurfacing of 2 basketball courts and the installation of 2 backboards at Southwinds Park. The project was budgeted for just under $87,000 and was completed this October for just under $66,000, leaving a balance of $21,239 in Southwinds bond proceeds. Staff proposes using the balance of these funds to replace aging park benches and trash enclosures at Southwinds Park. So we've listed the prior budget appropriation related to these bond proceeds from March 2021. And then today we are asking for an increase in general fund or bond fund 101 of $30,000, $655. We are also asking for a budget reallocation of the Ormond Beach tax allocation bond proceeds for $364,000, $312,000. A budget reallocation of $21,239 for the Southwinds tax allocation bonds, and a budget reallocation of $569,878 for the Hero tax allocation bond proceeds. We are asking that the Finance and Governance Committee recommend that the City Council approve the proposed list of redevelopment bond proceeds projects, authorize the reallocation of the remaining Ormond Beach tab proceeds for the purpose of completing the road work related to the Ormond Beach neighborhood street resurfacing project, authorize a budget appropriation of $30,655 from the general fund and the corresponding capital outlay fund for the roof replacement South Oxnard Center project, authorize the reallocation of the remaining Hero proceeds for the purpose of completing the roof replacement at the South Oxnard Center and for paving more alleyways. And finally, authorize the reallocation of all remaining Southwinds tab proceeds for the purpose of adding park benches and trash enclosures at Southwinds Park. If you have any questions, I will be available at the meeting to answer the questions about the bonds and the bond proceeds themselves. And our city engineer will be available to answer questions about the projects. Thank you.